This is episode 310, recorded January 8th, 2016. Packard pokes at Rose and Finch, better have my money. I want to thank You're Damned from the chat room for this week's show title.
What time is it? It's Packard pokes at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesAt where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokesat. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining us tonight from the far west coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
Hello.
And joining us from the Mish that is Michigan, he has a governor that likes to poison his constituents. Dave, you're damned.
I want everyone to know I'm wearing pajama pants and bare feet slippers.
Did you kill the bear to get those feet, Dave?
No, I believe they're synthetic.
And joining us from the far west coast is Finite Atticus.
I'm on the East Coast, but hello.
East Coast. Did I say West Coast?
You did.
Oh, I'm sorry. East Coast.
Starting off bad, Packard.
Oh, it's been one of those nights. You have no idea.
It's okay to be drunk.
I wish I could say that was the reason.
Just pretend.
Oh, just
Wah, wah, wah.
wah, wah, wah. Over in North Korea, they have a tendency to exaggerate quite a bit. Just last week, Kim Jong-un let a fart off, and it set off a giant shockwave across the nation. It was a 5.1 on the Richter scale. Oh, wait a minute. No, that wasn't a fart. It was a nuclear blast, which is pretty close to the same thing.
Only if you're in the car
Strong
with
goes
me.
the kimchi.
It's the kimchi that he's eating over there. It's certainly not my chili, because my chili doesn't give, well, it does. But but the thing is over there, he's saying that he has made a hydrogen bomb, and the difference between a hydrogen bomb and the typical atom bombs are a big, big difference. The atom bombs that he's most likely using, based on what the UN and special scientists who study this kind of shit, they know that by the shock wave, what kind of bomb or how much TNT version it is. They can judge that stuff. That because, these guys are like, real smart. Now, the thing about atom bombs is that they take the atom and they literally split it apart. The hydrogen bomb is a fusion bomb. What they do is they take the atoms and they do the reverse. Now, the reason why these two specific things are very different, a hydrogen bomb is so much more deadly. They did a atomic test on a hydrogen bomb out on some island many years ago. It started with an M. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I do apologize.
It wasn't Bikini Atoll.
No, it wasn't the Bikini Atoll. No, it was this other island. It sounded like Marne Island or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But when they tested this bomb on that island, the island literally vaporized. That's Myanmar, that's it. Myanmar,
okay. I think is.
Yeah, the Myanmar island. The island literally vaporized. The cloud went up over twice the height of where a commercial jet flies, and the cloud went out over 100 miles. Now, the thing is here, when Kim Jong-un says that this is a hydrogen bomb, because of the shockwave, even a small hydrogen bomb would have been even more devastating than what he's claiming. Kind of your thoughts?
What's really scary to me is that we've actually had Kim Jong-un come across our desk over the last year, and we've always kind of said, yeah, whatever. Tempest in it's kind of a tempest in a teapot, but it's scary because this is a dynasty. This is like they've set themselves up to be like gods. His family has, and they are messing around. They do have some kind of plutonium.
Yeah, there's plutonium and uranium.
Right, and they want to be this huge nuclear power, and I don't know. It's sort of like the spoiled little brat who wants attention. They don't even have to have a big bomb. They can't deliver it yet. I guess they don't have the rocket technology, the missile technology. But
actually, they according to the article I saw that you found for us,
yes.
They said that they're actually the scope of where they could deliver to would be like in your neighborhood, actually.
In the West Coast,
yeah.
Or they could just hit Seoul and Tokyo.
Oh yeah,
which are our allies, which is really actually that's almost the bigger threat.
Oh yeah, and the bigger target actually.
Yeah, so I'm glad we're actually talking about it because it is very frightening. We do have military presence, and we have a responsibility. We feel a responsibility, as I understand it, to South Korea and Japan and the Asian complex of powers over there. So yeah, I really hate that this temper tantrum from this 3-year-old. Is that how? Actually, today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Kim Jong Un. You already
he's 5 again.
Though, so.
He's 5 again.
Yeah,
he acts like a fucking 5-year-old.
Books, they'll believe it.
Yeah. So. His dad's not dead. He's just God now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good to be God.
Yeah. It's good to be the God.
God.
It's good to be the God.
I'll pass it to the other people here because this is, yes.
Okay, Dave, your thoughts.
So I think that it's clear that they have the capabilities to launch something that would reach us. What's unclear is whether or not what can reach us could be nuclear. Currently, I mean, the tests of the hydrogen bomb have demonstrated that they may have the capabilities to send a missile that would hit us.
Yeah.
But they do not have the technology to make it small enough to fill a missile head
right.
for a nuclear attack.
Right. So they have to send it Federal Express, is what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying. That's fine. No, you know what? I'm mixed in my approach to this because I feel that any nation should have the right to defend itself and arm itself.
Oh, absolutely.
And so us putting limitations on whether or not they can develop something is a questionable act. However, I also understand the plight of trying to protect the world against crazy people who want to destroy everything, or could potentially destroy everything over some sort of whiny temper tantrum,
right? Which
seems to be
this guy
go along where he's capable, right?
Yeah, Kim Jong Un, he's a child, and you put someone who's a child with a child mentality in charge of a country, especially one with nuclear weapons. It's like I don't know. It's like sending your 5-year-old off to school with a loaded Uzi.
Yeah, so I think the question is whether, I mean, so different nations have different leaders, and different leaders can perhaps be mentally 3 years old, right?
Yeah.
Do they have more or less a right to defend themselves? I don't know, but that's where I'm conflicted about it.
Well, there was a school of thought. I heard this morning, and I wish I could remember who the quote comes from, but it's basically saying that, why not give a nuclear missile to every country, and then that way nobody's going to use it because everybody doesn't want to get wiped out because they know they'll have the ability to wipe each other out.
Yeah, but isn't that the same?
That's an actual paradox, isn't it?
Is that the same question as, if we arm everyone in the United States and there will never be any more gun violence?
Right.
I mean, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Right,
and
that's where I was...
ridiculous to expect that of 4 nations as well.
Right. Well, that's where I was going with that.
Is that cognitive dissonance of everyone having the right to have that technology?
Right. Well, that's where I was going with.
The answer is.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out my my thoughts, my conflict. You
Sure.
know?
Well, no, the reason why I was saying that, I was leading to, on paper, it sounds like a good idea. In reality, it's not, because not everybody that has access to this technology is going to use it appropriately.
Of course. I agree.
So we get people like Kim Jong-un, who has a bigger dick than I've got fetish. So he thinks that, everybody else around him, he thinks everybody's out to get him. And he's going to, if he's got this kind of attitude, he's going to think that he's going to use it to attack everybody else.
Right.
He's going to do a preemptive strike because he's fucking nuts jobs. Atticus, your thoughts?
He's a lot like just the little dictator that could. And I
think you have the right at little dick. You didn't have to be the tater.
that as well. He does scare me a bit. He has it is it's like Christopher Hitchens said about North Korea. It's that it has, if you want to see what 1984 would look like if it were real, that is exactly what it would look like. I watched a documentary recently that's on Netflix, and now I can't remember the name of it, where eye doctors went into the country to fix cataracts. And these wonderful surgeons went in and they cured, I believe it was 1,000 people within like 15 days or something like that, because that's all the time they had. Well, it was probably shorter than that, or maybe longer. I don't know, but it wasn't an excessively long amount of time for them to do it. And after the cataracts had healed, instead of thanking the doctors, they walked directly up to the picture of Kim Jong-un and thanked him, the great Lord God Kim Jong-un.
Jesus Christ.
And it was the craziest fucking thing I had ever seen. I've never been more I don't know, adult scared in my life. I don't know how to put it. Like where you just feel that anxiety, that sort of feeling in the pit of your stomach, like that's just all wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has recently read the book 1984. But you read it when you're a kid and you don't understand what the fuck they're talking about. If you read it as an adult, that book will scare the poop out of you.
Yeah.
It will.
Well, you can say shit on the show here, by the way.
I like the word poop. I don't know. It's just I say it with my kids. And
Poop's good. It's articulate.
Poop. You can smell it once you hear the word come out of your mouth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like an interesting medical condition. If you get
inside North Korea.
What's that, Connie?
I was trying to Google it really quick, the documentary, but
I was gonna say if you say the
Yes,
word poop and
it was
you're
inside
smelling
North
it,
Korea, I think, something like that.
okay.
if you're smelling poop as soon as you say it, that sounds like a weird medical condition. You might want to have that checked out by a doctor.
I chew lots of gum and smoke cigarettes to cover up the smell.
Ah, that helps.
Well, according to Newsweek, North Korea believes the possession of nuclear arms is the guarantor of the regime's survival, which the Kim dynasty is actually what's the most important to them. It's the survival of that dynasty, of this family, of this leadership, this dictatorship. And I guess that I don't like to be afraid, and I don't want to have just a knee-jerk reaction of being afraid. When 9/11 happened, everybody was so incensed and afraid, and I don't think any of those reactions were wrong. But calmer heads needed to have taken over, I think, after 9/11, because now we have how many thousands of Americans and who knows how many Iranians and Iraqis, citizens who have died, and I don't think that we solved anything. So with North Korea, here's somebody who has their fingers on the trigger, and it seems like they're so anxious to prove something. And I heard some pundits today talking about it, but they were old Bush cronies, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we should be afraid of this." I go, "Well, we should be concerned about this, but what's really scary is sanctions haven't worked with North Korea."
Yeah.
And they're talking about more sanctions, and it doesn't seem to matter to them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about how tight knit the country. You can't exit. It's very hard. It's like very few people have exited.
Yeah.
How is it that people can actually enter the country with uranium or plutonium? I mean, we have the North Korean, South Korean Guard, I believe, on one side with American soldiers as well, and it's walled off. It's so localized. I don't understand how it is that. I mean, if it's that easy for stuff to get in, I mean, I guess you could smuggle in little parts here and there until someone eventually gets enough so that they have one missile, just one missile, and one way of packing that's tight enough into the warhead.
That's just
Right.
tenacity. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone's going to be able to get anything into any secure area if they're trying long enough.
I just want to read a couple comments from the chat room here. Cat's Eye 1000, he says, I think it's just a show to have more negotiation sway. Then later on, someone would say, we were talking about the sanctions there. That the sanction, that's from Microbloganism. Thank you, Microbloganism, for your comment. Sanctions only work if you care about your people. Now, if he's negotiating, he's certainly not going to negotiate on his behalf of his people. If he's going to negotiate, he's try to negotiate for himself, I imagine.
Now, do you guys believe that he actually has 100% total control over the population? I mean, they say they have a 0% crime rate.
No, they also say they have unicorns that shit Skittles too. So
no, I know. Well, I mean, with a totalitarian government, I could see almost perfect control.
Yeah,
but
I can't see total control of any.
You wouldn't need death camps.
I can always see dissenters within any group.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered stories here on the show where they've had dissenters from within the ranks. And one of the guys he had, they claimed anyway, that they shot him with an aircraft carrier gun.
That was his uncle.
Was it his uncle?
I believe so. His uncle, had his uncle executed about a year ago, didn't he?
Yeah, it was about a year ago. We covered it here on the show. They shot him with an aircraft carrier gun. I'm like, that's a little bit of overkill.
But, I mean, we're right. We're an atheist show, right? Like, so we
are. Wait a minute. Wait. Let me write this down. We're an atheist show. We are atheist show.
So
wait. You guys don't believe in God either?
I'm just saying. We all understand what it's like to be a dissenter who is silent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes.
Right, and so claiming that 100% of the population agrees with a certain belief or mindset.
Yeah, I would.
True, because there are probably people who are dissenting and yet not vocal about it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that point. That there's probably pockets of people who are actively trying to hopefully try to figure out a way to overturn the government there, if at all possible.
I mean, that's
or
true.
at least just trying to live outside of some of their reign without being noticed.
That's true, and the media is censored to not show that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Of course they censor everything over there.
Microbloganism says they have prison camps. See, that's what I've heard about it. Is very, very oppressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was that movie that they recently didn't release to
The Interview.
theaters?
The
Interview. I thought that
Yes.
movie was hilarious.
I have not seen it yet.
I believe it's on Netflix.
Oh, I've
as well.
seen it.
I've got like 500 ways to get the movie if I want to watch it. It's just a matter of time.
I don't know that it's a good movie. It's actually probably more hyped than a good movie.
I'm just easily pleased, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, it's by and large entertaining.
That's what I heard. I've heard reviews on both ends that it was really good, and some people say it was just total crap. So I have yet to watch it, so I don't know. I
just say it's entertaining. I'll leave it at that.
That's my
found
best term.
Funny.
Yeah.
It was not the best movie, but I found it very funny. And
yeah. See, we got it's all over. The maps all over the place there. We have with us tonight Finite Atticus from starts with an M. Massachusetts. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm having one of those blank nights
You said
today.
it starts with an L and then it was Massachusetts?
No, I said M. Started with an M.
I thought you said L.
No.
I was going to say, that's way off.
That's way off. Well, it's right next to the M. The L is right next to the M. We have Atticus from Massachusetts. I've got a few questions for you, Atticus. Were you ever religious, and how did you come to your non-belief?
I was born into a religious family,
Mm-hmm.
and it was to my detriment because I was in the closet. I've known that I was gay probably since very early childhood,
Mm-hmm.
let me see. It was an Advent Christian church home, and we were not extremely strict, but strict enough to where non-belief couldn't be spoken about. But I believed, so I guess that was okay. Where being gay couldn't be talked about because that was also a negative thing.
Yeah.
So I kept it to myself. I eventually, let me see. I had so many trials and tribulations. I made a YouTube series about it. But eventually what happened was I was divorced, alone, recently divorced, very alone, and I discovered YouTube atheism. And from there, I started to question my beliefs to the point where I just sort of woke up one day, and I know this doesn't happen to everybody, but I woke up one day and realized that I no longer believed the things that I did anymore.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people on the show, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts, and some people say, well, no, it's a gradual thing. You don't usually hear about I believe one day, and all of a sudden, like a light switch, it's off.
No, I would describe it as it was a long process.
Okay.
But the thing was, I also, during my early, say, 10, 11 years old, I also developed obsessive compulsive disorder. And this made it very difficult because it was always centered around my religious beliefs. It made it very complicated for me to decide to actually think about what non-belief would be like. And I think that over the years, eventually it just got to the point where it was in my head, and the YouTube atheist community put so much of that information inside of me that and I had to deal with the fear. I described it better in the episode that I put on my channel, but I just sort of woke up one day and someone asked me if I believed, and I said, no, I don't believe that. I'm an atheist. And I was really just floored by the fact that I said it. Because usually I would approach that type of situation with a lot of fear, with a lot of anger, and with a lot of confusion. But instead I was like, nope. I guess that's just the way that is now.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And I think that my mind was trying to save me from the heart attack. And eventually I did feel a lot of feelings of sorrow and depression as a result of it, but they didn't last too long because I had friends to tell me that everything was okay.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah. And one of those people was Purple Fox, who is another person who wrote a wonderful deconversion series on YouTube, and I met him in person.
Oh, cool.
He lives not far from me, and to be able to talk to a person directly who's been through a lot of those experiences was really helpful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would agree. I have another question here for you. You recently did a video where you're talking about your daughter, how this one girl was picking on her, and I used it in the intro clip for the guest shot. It says you were going to, it's like, would I toast this little girl? Well, maybe not. But was that the inspiration the behind that video?
Well, really, what it was I was just. So I mean, I'm not going to use my usual writing style when I describe this. I'm just going to be like, like we're sitting around having coffee. I'm talking to my daughter and we're coloring, and she just starts asking me all these weird questions, stuff that she's never asked me before. Does life continue on after death, or what happened if the moon hit the Earth? What happens when the universe ends? Do you believe there's a God? All of those things. And I'm sitting there going, oh, fuck. Wow. This little girl is experiencing all of the things I experienced over the years, except in like one moment. And when I explained to her what I believed and what I think about those situations, I was like, I don't believe there's life after death. And she was like, "Can you stop telling me this?" Because
really?
It was terrifying to her. Yeah.
Wow.
And she thought for a while, and then she was like, I told her, I said, "You don't have to believe what I believe. You can believe what you like." Because I've always had this precedent where if I tell my kids what to think, then they can't be free thinkers.
True.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
True. So she she thought about it for a while, and she's like, I don't know. And I said, well, that's perfect. That's wonderful right there.
I don't know is an honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honest answer.
And it's a better place than most of the kids are at her age.
Absolutely. How do you go about producing your videos, and how do you film and edit them?
So a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll just pick a situation from my life where something either really shitty happened.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's mostly only something really shitty that happened.
I've been listening to your series on iTunes, so
Yeah, Jason and I make fun of it on the iTunes, but on my YouTube channel, I try to be serious with it.
Okay.
So I take that situation and I take a very minimalist approach to writing about it. I don't try to put in too many 50-cent words or blather for a long time. If you're going to talk about falling down the stairs, just say I fell down the stairs. There's no reason to really be like, I fell and doth broke my skull open, and there's no reason for that stuff. I just not that that's how. I mean, I don't need a Dickensian style writing.
Well, it does add a lot of description, and the blood spurt all over.
Yeah, I just feel the minimalist approach in a YouTube video is the best way to go, because you just get right to the point. And I will sit there and I grab a sheet of paper and I use a pencil, old world style, and I free write about the situation. Whether it's just one word or a sentence or anything, and it looks like a big jumbled mess. And then from there I leave it and wait a few days. And I know it takes me a long time to produce a video. Then I go to Microsoft Word or whatever I have here, and I just start to write about it. And what's funny is if I do the free association thing first, that I will have that 5-page script written in a few hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. How do you edit these? I mean, a lot of your shots are like still shots. Do you do any like live video shots, and how do you edit all that stuff?
I almost never use live shots. What I do is I will pick a specific word and I will underline it on in the word processor, and I will find just a photo. I usually look for a high quality photo.
Okay.
But nothing with celebrities or anything like that, because I don't want to get flagged and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I'll put that on the screen, and during each one of those shots I will take the on iMovie. I actually use iMovie just to produce my videos.
That's what I use.
Yeah, it works really well. And I just put titles on them. It'll say like a pull focus title, and I will take one of the lines and I'll put that on the screen. And really, other than that, that's my editing process. I don't think that should be too complicated. I'm not like a talking head. I'm not like a
wait a minute, I'm a talking head
like that. So
wait a minute, I'm a talking head here.
He's the great and powerful Oz.
I am the great and powerful Packard.
Great and powerful Oz.
Yeah, just don't pull back that curtain. He's not wearing
exactly.
pants.
I'm not wearing pants.
But it's not too complicated, no.
Okay.
It's actually very simple.
Yeah, okay. How did you get into making the YouTube videos?
All right. So, let's say in about 2011 to 2012, when I was watching... See, I had a job where I was working at a computer, and we were allowed to use our phones to listen to podcasts and, not watch YouTube necessarily, but sort of put something over your phone and listen to what what's going on. And after watching the YouTube series by Evidence, Why I'm No Longer a Christian, and Purple Fox's Deconversion series, and Xander's Meteor, I sat there and said, "Wow, I really wish I could write one of those." And I eventually came to the conclusion that I probably should just write this down for me. And I decided to make a video. Oh, I mean, I was listening to about 2012. Logic had just started making videos, and he had been on for a while. And he made this video called "A Year on YouTube" or something like that. And he said something to the effect of, "Just make a fucking video." And he said, "Don't worry about whether or not people will like it. Who cares? I mean, that's how you just get out there." So I just produced this one video, deconversion, the beginning of the end, and I had no plans to make any more. But I got a shout out from Coffee with Claire. And I got a shout out from the Atheist Hub mirrored one of my other videos that wasn't part of the series.
Atheist Hub isn't around much anymore. I haven't seen anything new come from their content from their channel in a while anyway.
Yeah, no, it's that's Peter. That's Essence of Thought.
Yeah, we had him on the show.
Some other English bros.
Yeah.
And I think they just went their separate ways or whatever, or maybe people aren't asking them anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. What is one of the best video channels you've ever seen on YouTube? I mean, besides, Packard pokes at.
Wow, that's a loaded question. It's a hard question to answer.
Loaded question.
Let me see.
We could just say I love Packard pokes at, and we'll be done.
I do love the show, actually. I just haven't been able to catch it on Fridays because we're usually doing stuff, and for a while we were doing the Friday Funhouse with Jason with the D.
Yeah.
But yeah, I catch it on iTunes now. But yeah, no, let me see. I would have to say the best channel that I have found in years is probably Evidence's channel. He makes some of the most quality content I have ever seen, and it's all home run, home based. He doesn't, he's also doing it. I believe he's a professor now, at this point. Whatever college he's working at. But yeah, I would say that's probably one of the best channels. And then there are some other ones that I really like their content, not because they're popular, but because they just put out good content every time I watch it.
Sure.
I would say SciShow is one of them, and that's not atheist, but that's although they won't admit it, I'm pretty sure that both of the Vlog brothers are atheists.
Yeah, I subbed to the SciShow too. Some really good stuff on there. I see people down thumbing. It's like, this is good information. Why are you down thumbing this? I'm thinking, oh yeah, these are people the fucking creationists. It's like, information bad,
Oh yeah, how could I forget? I mean, Vsauce.
Oh, Vsauce, yeah.
The thing is, a lot of people don't get it, but they just I sit back and I go, this guy is an atheist, but he can't publicly take that stance because YouTube is his job.
Yeah, it's his bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, if he does that, I don't see people stop watching his stuff.
I don't think if he came out and said he was an atheist, I really don't think there'd be a issue. So
yeah,
somebody's eating chips.
No, I'm sorry. I should have shut off my mic while I was doing that.
That's okay.
I am so poor that I roll my cigarettes.
Oh, is that what that is? I thought you were eating. I thought you were like, oh, gotta have a potato chip. They're just like, they're calling me.
No worries, man.
I have one last question, and I'm going to turn it over to my co-hosts. What do you do outside of your YouTube persona? Do you have a job? Do you hunt monkeys? What do you do?
Oh man, hunting monkeys would be awesome. But, I'm a home care specialist for an elderly man who lives not far from me. If anybody doesn't know what that is, I'm a nurse's aide, which is something that is just under a nurse, but I guess nurses are too good to do that job, so they created us.
Okay.
And I just take care for his daily needs. He's 89 years old, and I get paid for a good amount for doing 3 days a week worth of work. And it's part-time because I'm also a full-time student.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I go to university, and I got into this wonderful university in central Massachusetts that I could not believe that I got in, but now I'm here and I'm ready to finish, and I have, I believe, a semester and a half left. And I study biology. I want to go to PA school to learn to be a physician's assistant.
Cool.
And if my grades aren't good enough to get me in there, which is kind of looking that way, but that happens to a lot of people. I'm probably going to stay at the school I'm at and go for my degree in evolutionary biology.
Okay. Some of those other ones that you were saying you have the grades for, some of those people, some of those studies and things, you almost have to be neurotic about it to get those kind of grades to pass those things.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is I'm also, I hate to put it this way, but a part-time father. Because I'm divorced, but I have shared custody of my children. My ex-wife and I get along really well.
Well, that's good.
So, I take them as much as I can. I go to her place sometimes and hang out with them. I mean, everything's cool. So I can't take out of my time with them, a lot of the time to study.
I understand that. I have 2 daughters of my own, and I went through the divorce thing and with the kids back and forth, so I understand all that. So that's why when you did the thing about the video about your talk to your daughter there, that I was like, oh man, I identified with that.
Did I hit you in the feels?
Yeah, you hit me right in the feels. You hit me right in the feels.
That's what I try to do. I try to manipulate words so that a person goes, just one person.
Yeah, I recognize it because I'm a dad, and I have 2 daughters, so I recognize all that shit. So, Connie, did you have some questions for Atticus?
You are such a great storyteller. I just can't imagine. I've listened to your channel for a long time, and I've also listened to the Let Me Finish. So I've heard so much of your story, but as a teen, I can't imagine you not sitting there and just cracking up an entire room of people with stories, because you're so good at it. Is this the first that you've really been able to regale people with your
in
your
the past
humor?
5 years? Yes.
Are you kidding?
I would have to say that during I wasn't anybody during my teenage years. I wasn't a thing. I was just kind of there. And I did do a podcast with Jason about what had happened that made me leave high school. It's called Love, Feelings, and Hornswoggle.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, it's the one where I talk about a person named Bobby, which was a guy that I was in love with in high school. Mm-hmm. And that was really the only time that I felt opened up during that teenage period where I was like, oh, this is wonderful. It's like all flowers and roses because you're in love with somebody. It's too bad they're, a fucking dildo. And you can't see it because you've got rose-colored glasses on.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
But I wasn't the type of person that sat around and just told a story. No one really cared about what I had to say.
That's such a shame.
Well, I look back on it now and I'm like, well, I'm here now.
That's right. It's as well, life leads you up to a certain point, and then, when everybody's ready, then the teacher comes, that kind of thing, I guess. But I'm just blown away because I just love how you are so verbal, and I love you. I love when you talked about your process too. That was really interesting. So, you just write
stuff
down.
You can thank Chuck Palahniuk for that.
Yeah,
Chuck Palahniuk.
Yeah, he is one of my absolute favorite writers.
He's one of my absolute favorites as well. So kudos to that.
Yeah,
sweet.
That sort of minimalist writing is he was kind of my influence for that. But when I do get descriptive, that's mostly Stephen King, Kurt Vonnegut.
Okay,
people like that.
Also, yeah, I love Stephen King.
All my favorites here.
People either love him or hate him, don't they? Because he's so verbose. But I'm like,
who's Stephen King?
More. Yeah.
I don't understand how anybody can hate anything by him. See, this is the thing: is that I think of Stephen King as the writer for people who hate reading. There isn't a person that I know that's like, oh, well, I hate all of his work. You can always go, well, come on. What about Rose Matter or my personal favorite, and I recommend it to anybody who's listening, and all of you guys, 11/22/63.
Of course.
probably the most wonderful book he ever wrote, and I cried. It's
the easiest. That's the easiest book to transition into his writing if you're not a fan of horror.
I'll have to see if I can find it on podcast audio.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
download the when it's read. I did download that as well. After
Stephen
I read
King, Kurt Vonnegut, Chuck Palahniuk. You're touching upon my favorite authors there.
You're touching his feels, Atticus.
You're really. My feels are being touched. They're being fondled. They're being feelied.
My
jump in there,
absolute
Dave.
favorite book though is Dune by Frank Herbert. I mentioned that book quite a bit and throughout a lot of my stories, but Frank Herbert, a lot of his other books, they were just like, oh God, just stop. But that one is so fantastic. I mean, it kills Lord of the Rings. I don't care who loves that. I love that book.
I can see that.
Mm.
I'm not an either or person, but I can understand preferring one over another. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you have any more?
don't-
Did you have any more questions there, Connie?
I'm going to pass it to Dave. Like I said, I listen to everything.
Okay.
I'm loving just listening.
Okay. Dave, your questions for Atticus.
Yeah, I've got a few.
And I stole his best one.
Of course, we discussed before the show started. I want to ask about your writing, the way that you use language in your videos and everything else. It seems to me to be, and it's impressive. You do a really good job of commanding the language.
Well, that's the thing, though, is a lot of people think that you need to, like if I were to write a character,
Yeah.
you don't have to describe the person by saying, "Oh, they're shifty all the time." Instead of saying that they're shifty all the time, you describe something that they're doing. Rather, you say, "This person." You say, James is walking down the street, checking to see how many wallets are hanging out of the pockets. Things like that, and then you know that they're shifty. You don't have to describe
it
what
describes
shifty
character.
is.
My question here is whether, and I think you answered this earlier, but whether or not you're intending to write something concrete as far as written words from your experiences.
Yep, I am. I'm in the process of developing how to put my deconversion series into a novel or a book, a biography.
Awesome.
That'd be cool.
And I realized that fleshing out my YouTube series is a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. It'll be a lot more descriptive. It will include a lot more things that you probably just can't put on YouTube, but you can put in the written word, especially under a surname or a name that isn't really yours.
Yeah.
Under a pseudonym name.
Yeah.
You can if you want to, you can put it under Packard son.
You know what? I got
Packard,
the
he's
most
got his
recent
own series.
podcast. Jason scolded me and said that if I didn't give him a dedication in the beginning of the book, he would murder me to death. But I'm going to dedicate. I'm probably going to dedicate it to just mostly the YouTube atheist community.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to send me a copy and have me read it and write a review for you. I mean, I'll
Sure.
And when you get ready to publish or whatever, and you want to put it out, you can come back and we'll hawk your book on here.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, like,
I'd love to do that.
I would absolutely love it if something like that took off. But I'm thinking a lot of publishing companies probably, I mean, they'll do it for somebody like Christopher Hitchens. You know what I mean? Get a book about atheism and put that out there. But
I know a lot of publishing houses that you can do it yourself. You don't need to go through some big ass thing to
And
do.
self-publishing is now something that's very big, and you can find people who run entire businesses off of promoting self-published books.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I could do that and then plug it on my channel, but
Sure.
I'm probably going to be like, okay, I'm sending it off to Putnam Books and all these other guys, and they'll probably pass it. I don't know. I try to be optimistic, but at the same time, I try to be realistic.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely love it if lots of people would read it. But But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I got to get the pen on paper. You know,
I'll promote it for you. I mean,
Yeah, we'll promote it here on the show for you.
I'm just a guy, but I'll help you.
please, thank you.
I'll promote it everywhere.
I have another question, and this may be personal, but
Nothing too personal.
that's the impression that I get, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, as a man who came out as gay later on in your life, what was the experience like of getting married to a heterosexual female and having children? I mean, did you feel that was pressured, or what was that like? I mean, you expressed...
Well, I mean, it was a conundrum of feelings. I loved my ex-wife. I still love her very much. But it took me forever to realize that there are different types of love.
Yeah.
When I was in the middle of being with her, it was like a normal heterosexual relationship. You fight about stupid shit. You break up, you get back together, you find out that you're pregnant, and you decide that, well, she's pregnant, not me.
Wait a minute, you got pregnant? Hey, now we got this for the medical books now.
you decide, oh, the best thing I can do is get married, plus that'll be good in the eyes of God, all of this stuff. But I can tell you that I did a video on YouTube in which it's called On My Family. Which is part 7, I believe. And there's a scene in the middle where you can see 2 people getting married. And that video is from my actual wedding.
Okay.
When I'm standing there saying I do, and my uncle, who's a pastor, is marrying us, and my son is sitting there holding the rings, what I was thinking about was another man that I was in love with. And
Honestly.
I was like, this is going to be bad. Like, my mind actually, I said that to myself, this is going to be bad. You're going to hurt her.
Oh, that sucks, man.
I have a follow-up kind of a springboard question off of what Dave asked. I had a conversation with some nut job several years ago where they said, you can't have somebody that has a family or whatever, but you're living proof of that. I mean, of course, one instance is not a data point, but this is not one instance and not one data point.
Oh,
there are a lot of guys out there that they follow the whole. I should get married because that's the thing I'm expected to do, and I get somebody pregnant, but I'm having these feelings, and then they come out gay later.
Packard. I mean, that's honestly. I mean, I'm a straight guy who truly wonders what that's like, because I can't understand it. I mean, honestly,
well, I would have to say, I mean, there's a lot of argument from gay purism where people seem to think, and I not any of you I'm saying, but I find generally is that because the TV told them that gay men don't ever have sex with women, that means that they're not capable of it. And I would have to say no. Most of us are capable of doing it. We're just not very interested. I mean, I don't look at a vagina and run away.
Oh my God, a vagina!
Yeah, but that's I guess that's my question.
I look at it and I say that's a thing.
My question is, like, were you attracted to that woman when you conceived children? I mean,
I would have to say, when I think of a beautiful woman, I appreciate her much like I appreciate a Van Gogh.
Okay.
And
fair.
I appreciated that woman because I loved her personally.
Yeah.
But as far as sexual attraction went, mostly what I was thinking about was, oh goody, I get to put my dick somewhere other than in my hand. It's about the same as
I get that.
I would liken it to, you're a straight guy and you can't always have sex. It's impossible. And we're constantly, inundated by our biology. Gay men are exactly the same way, except the majority of the time, it's easier for us to have sex. So when you're in a marriage and you're in a situation where you're with someone that you can have sex with,
yeah,
the idea of having sex is enough so that you can just sort of go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to dissuade that. I mean, I always thought, that, yeah, this is possible because the fact is, they, in times before, beforehand, my age or whatever, they would say, I was having these feelings, but I couldn't act on them then because family expectations or whatever. And that, I'm sure that's
I wouldn't say I
possibility.
didn't enjoy it. I mean, it was a thing that I felt like I had to do. It was something that I had to do, and it was better than nothing.
Okay.
You felt you had to do it?
Yeah, I mean, well, because I needed. I wanted to have sex, and there's my wife. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
if
you
I
wanted
want
to have
these-
sex
if I
with
want
someone, and you were married to someone.
Yeah, if I want these sort of sexual feelings to go away, well, going ahead and having sex with the person that's there is the best thing you can do. So that's what I mean by have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a comment from the chat room, Connie. She says straight men don't love vaginas for their looks. If we were honest, we're probably more attracted to the software, boobs, butt, haha. So we also had one from Micro. We also had
we did have two questions, though.
Okay, we'll get to those in just a moment. We also had a comment from Microblogularism. He says, "Run! The vagina monster is coming."
Yeah. And I have to say, I have met a few gay men who are like that, but the majority of the gay men that I meet, and to be completely honest, when I did my I can't remember what part of the deconversion series it was. I wrote a part where I was talking about how I had to go out and find it and have sex with a guy just to get it out of me. I met a straight married man in church. And I didn't realize what he was on about until much later on, which was that he was attracted to me and he was asking me to lunch, in quotations. Oh. And about a week later, I went to a gay bar and there he was sitting there.
Oh.
And I went to he had an apartment that he had aside from being with his wife, and I had sex with him there.
Nice.
And
nice for you. I mean, it's not.
But generally, I find a lot of the gay men that I'll meet that are near my age are men who were married out of what they felt was necessity, and now they're coming out of the closet because they're realizing it's okay.
Okay. I did have a couple questions from the chat room here. One is from Dawkins Dog. Thank you for your question, Dawkins. He says, "What has caused you more problems with friends and family, coming out gay or coming out atheist?"
Oh, coming out atheist.
Really?
Jeez. So again, I keep referring to my YouTube channel. I made a video called Mother about coming out to my mother. And she fully appreciated, understood, and had felt feelings that she loved me and she did not care, even though she was a strong Christian. And the first thing that she did before we had our big conversation was to call all of my family members and say, "Did you guys know this? Did you guys know this?" And everybody was like, "Yeah, we knew that. You're the last person to know." She called my aunt, and my aunt was like, "Oh yeah, I knew. He loves dick. I mean, how could you not see that your entire life?" And these are Christians. These are very strong Christians who all knew this, and they were like, "We knew. We all knew." And my mother had blinders on, apparently, because I had gotten married and done all the straight guy things, I guess. Well, I shouldn't put it that way, because marriage and children is not just for straight people anywhere, is it?
No. It's for macaroni and cheese, too. It's what I'm hearing. I'm just saying.
Anyway, coming out as an atheist was more difficult to her because she... my mother, and this is just specifically her. All of the other times I come out as an atheist to everybody else, it's a huge argument. But for her, it was a sorrowful thing because she when she was 16, my mother was run over by a potato harvester. If you don't know what that is,
I know what a potato harvester is.
Okay,
Yeah, but
I'm just
you
being
should
a
still describe
jerk. Right? So anyway, back in the 60s, she was working on a potato farm because during 3 weeks of the year they take the kids out of school to earn money picking potatoes.
Yep.
And she happened to be out there picking potatoes during that time. You get your $1 a bushel or whatever they paid them. And she got run over by one of the harvesters, one of the wheels, one of those big giant tractor wheels.
Yeah, that's
and
scary.
It crushed her body unbelievably. She broke, I believe, 100 of the 206 bones in the human body. And she was not projected to live, but she did, and graduated from high school with honors from a hospital bed.
Wow.
And that is her God story, is that she is a miracle as a result of this. Now, I didn't really get into it and be like, oh, don't thank the doctors, Mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is her, this is your mother. This is your story, her story. And I wasn't going to sit there and be like, oh, well, fuck you. It was the doctors who saved you. I love my mother very much, and I respected what she was saying. But she was like, if there's no God, then I would have died. And then thereafter it was mostly the evolution argument. It's just, it always comes down to the same thing, is that they have a tendency to believe that anyone who understands how evolution works automatically is an atheist.
Oh my gosh, you understand a thing that makes you an atheist automatically. No.
Yeah.
Is that how she still?
I explained to her
She
what
still thinks
evolution
that?
actually was, but I guess she just kind of brushed it off as, you're never going to get me to believe that the world wasn't created by God.
Okay, but that's not evolution.
No.
Right. Yeah.
I was going to say, recently, I heard this on another podcast, that they're saying now that the reason why that the bone is not missing from the man, because man, there's this old belief that women have more chest bones, rib bones, because they supposedly took a bone from the man and gave it to her to make her. Now they're saying now that this is a mistranslation, and they took the bone from the penis. And
Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm not. I am definitely. I am seriously.
You know what?
I'm not
that
kidding.
Is kind of close to the truth, because other apes and monkeys do have a bone inside of their penis that makes
Really?
it come out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's apes. I believe it's other relatives.
Any other?
Like a cartilage.
Nope, a bone.
It's a bone.
Actual bone. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe humans are the only ones that have a phallus entirely made.
Humans are the only ones that have that specific, or lack that bone rather.
Okay.
Microorganism says the baculum.
Yep. Nope. If you want good information, go to him. Don't go to me. I drink too much.
Baculum wins.
He's absolutely
Surprise
correct.
tonight.
The baculum is
Yay.
the name of the bone.
Yeah.
We got to get him on staff. I'm just saying.
Go from here.
Yeah. Tarvian said in some places in the southern Missouri, guys will give their girl a raccoon pelvis bone for their love.
Oh wow, that's just gross.
Oh, you think that's gross? I got one better. When I was younger, I was over at a cousin's house, and they had looked like a walking stick. I was like, oh well, that's interesting looking. It's like, yeah, that came out a bull. I'm like, oh, okay, that's
Wow. I have a friend who has repeatedly told us on the Hangouts. I don't know if you've met Zelda.
no, I have not yet.
She's been on a very public spanking of, and she's been in the Friday Funhouse. But she's a YouTube friend, and she's from the South, and she has eaten squirrel pie and squirrel nuggets and squirrel steaks.
I've eaten squirrel salad personally.
How is it? How is it?
It's fine. I mean, I've eaten a lot of stuff. It's fine.
Stuff.
I mean, a lot of stuff.
I'm about to eat a notebook.
It's meat that tastes like. I mean, most meat tastes like what the animal's diet is, and it's meat that tastes kind of nutty. It's fun.
It's nutty.
It is.
Yep.
Well, I bet it
No, I
tastes.
can-
I'm sorry, I'm thinking different nuts. I'm sorry.
You are.
I mean, I honestly, I don't mind squirrel. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, is it like venison where it tastes kind of like there's a little bit of dirt in the flesh?
Gamey?
Yeah. No, totally. I understand that comparison and think that that's probably true.
Dave, I've got squirrels all around me. I'll start plugging them and I'll send them to you.
I don't want you to do that. Most of those squirrels are probably sick. Fuck off, Packard. I don't want.
No, these are all healthy squirrels.
I ate squirrels from a forest that were like healthy squirrels.
These are healthy squirrels.
Are you like Survivor
Forest,
Man? You just go
no,
off every once in a while and
You know what? I would like to be. I don't know that I am, but I would like to be.
just back up and go. Bring your video camera. We'll make it into one of those horror movies where they just find the camera afterwards.
I've got a goddamn backpack that has like a Bowie knife connected to it, and like, you know, I got patches on my backpack. I'm ready to go.
We had a comment from the chat room. Ras Ungod. Thank you for your comment. It says Prairie Oyster Nutty.
Oh, God.
Prairie oysters. Mmm. Good eating.
Yeah, I'm not eating that.
I don't know that there's a really strange thing that I've ever eaten. No, I've eaten just normal stuff.
Have you?
I
eaten
ate a can of dog food on a bet once.
Did you?
How was that? I got to know how is that?
It tastes
It's
like.
bland.
Say it again.
It's bland.
It is bland. It tastes it. So it's they fortify it with the nutrients that the dog needs, and take out all the human stuff because they realize that putting bone meal and stuff like that makes the dog sick. And if you notice, dog poop is no longer white. For that very reason, they took all the bone out of it.
Yeah, but white is normally what happens after it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, well, but in order to, they put all those vitamins and shit that the dog needs. It just tastes like bland human food.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I didn't get the money from the bet. That person still owes me $20.
Oh, bland food. I was gonna say.
$20.
I was gonna say someone is copying my ex-wife's cooking.
Oh,
I'm kidding. It was flavorful. I added salt.
You had to say it, Packard. You son of a bitch.
Oh, God.
My ex-wife doesn't listen to the show. I don't care.
Well, of course she doesn't.
one day she finally does, and she's like, "I'm going to make my own
This shows the reason she
channel."
divorced you, Packard.
Oh, God.
Actually, some of her cooking was okay.
I
did
have to
most of
say,
the
my
cooking.
ex-wife was and is an excellent cook. She kept me fat and happy, and when I do, I go over there, for my visits sometimes with my daughter, and we just hang out in the house. We hang out in her room and we do a thing, and I usually have dinner with them, even though she's remarried to another guy. I mean, our weird little family is so cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
She
is-
makes the most. She's the crock pot queen.
Ooh.
Nice.
And she's like, "Oh, we're having pork roast in barbecue sauce," and she's been cooking it all day, and it's just it's meat dripping off the bone. It's just good stuff.
Yeah, I was only kidding. My ex-wife actually did cook fairly decently. I did a lot of cooking too. So.
Backtracking.
I'm not
It
backtracking. I'm just
came from,
correcting the record.
A box called Hungry Man.
Hungry Man. Yes, I've had that.
Everybody. Sorry.
Do we have any last questions from the chat room?
We had an earlier one from the real Paul Marshall.
I did not see that one. I don't.
Okay, that's why I wrote it down.
Okay.
Did you send Ritzy any snacks?
Did you send Ritzy any snacks?
Are you sending snacks to Oregon?
Oh, were they asking me or?
Yeah,
or
they're
just
asking you.
everybody?
Yes, they were.
Yes,
Oh! Is this the person is this the shit in Oregon that's going on right now?
I have no idea. Is that what is that? Maybe
Is that what
what
that's in reference to?
I don't know.
I don't know. I threw in Oregon after they said snacks because I thought it fit.
Oh. What? No, I'm not going to send them any fucking snacks. Fuck those guys.
They took over. They took over a gift shop.
That's what he was referring
They,
to.
they took over an empty gift shop. Way to go, guys!
If we can rant about that for a second, I would love that.
Oh well,
yeah. I was wondering why that wasn't in the Dropbox.
Yeah, exactly. Why isn't that a topic tonight?
You know,
is it a relative, Packard? Is that why?
Yes, they're all relatives. No, I.
No, seriously, those people, the Bureau of Land Management exists to preserve land for we the people.
Mm-hmm.
We the people.
Yeah.
The people who are occupying it say that they're trying to bring it back to us. However, they're stealing our land from ourselves. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And they're not doing this for altruistic reasons. They're doing this for religious reasons. The guy living in Oregon.
They're clear. They are Mormons.
Yeah, they are Mormons. And he said that he had a vision from God to go do this.
Oh wow! I really hate these people now.
Yeah, they're extremist Mormons, and that's clear. And they hate,
wow! I didn't even catch that part of it.
I found that out myself just recently.
They hate quote unquote Negroes because of their Mormon beliefs, and that goes back to 2014 with Clive and Bundy. However, it's his son who's doing this now, and I think
twice the son, twice the racism. That's good. I
think the only reason they're doing this is to bring the attention back to his father, right? I mean,
Dawkins, he says, extremist Mormons, do they wear suicide underpants?
Yeah, they're bulletproof while they wear that shit. No, I gotta say, of all the religions to deconvert from, Mormonism probably has to be the most difficult.
Really, really nice people.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine being in such a tight knit community and being loved so much, and they present so many opportunities to their parishioners to make money and to always be secure so long as you're following the rules.
Yeah.
And then say, no, I'm gay, or no, I don't believe anymore. That has to be so fucking scary.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. But I have to say, regarding this whole occupation of land thing in Oregon, I don't think that Mormonism is the key to the whole thing. I think the key to the whole thing is that we have the children of a racist who is trying to bring notoriety back to his father.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we do have to move on here because otherwise I'm going to be editing for hours and hours.
Let's be sure about that, Packard.
Atticus, where can they find your channel?
You can find my channel at youtube.com/Finite Attic, all one word. The word finite and attic, like, holy shit, there's an attic above my head filled with stuff I don't use anymore. Mm-hmm. Or you can punch in Finite Atticus into the search bar, and that will I'll come up.
Okay, and you have also a podcast you've mentioned several times. Do you want to give us the name of that?
Yes, I do a podcast with Jason with a D, who also has a YouTube channel. He's brilliant. That is my best friend. The podcast is called Let Me Finish. You can check us out on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. Oh, shit. Where are all the other... I can't remember the rest of the places.
Or just type in Let Me Finish.
Lemmy.
Lemmy.
Lemme, Finish.
There you go.
And let me see. There, we have a website as well called the Let Me Listen Podcasts, all one word.com.
Okay, great. Atticus, can you stick around with us?
I can.
Excellent. We actually have a little commercial we need to play first, and then we'll be back here in just a couple minutes.
Contact us by email at ppappodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter as @PackardPokesat. Like us on Facebook.com/PackardPokesat. call our Google Voice and leave a message at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and we will respond to it on the show. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time, join us live at vonlive.tv/PackardFolkSat. During the show, you can share your thoughts with us by calling 857-216-3200 using PIN number 35368 or on uberconference.com/PackardFolkSat. For links to the stories, visit our show page at packardfolksat.wordpress.com. You can help support the show by purchasing merchandise from cafepress.com/PackardFolksat or make a donation to the show at patreon.com/PackardFolksat. If you can't afford any money, why not share the show with your friends and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, and on YouTube. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass!
We don't generally cover a whole lot of celebrities on this show, mainly because they're so vacuous that they are completely void of reality because of all their wealth and fame, that when they have to deal with, real people, they kind of lose their fucking minds. And the one person who has made a career out of losing her fucking mind is Roseanne Barr. And recently she took to Twitter and calling atheists, saying that we were basically all anti-Semitic, and actually her first quote was,
that's what we're best known for.
Yeah, absolutely, that's exactly what we're known for, apparently. She says, atheists are very anti-Semitic, and then she changed it. She said, most atheists are. I would even have a problem with her with even saying that. And
I would have a problem with her saying one atheist is.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, what she doesn't seem to understand is that, as most atheists, I'm speaking for myself on this, I don't have a problem with just one religion. I have a problem with all the religions. I go after Jews, Christians, Islam. I go after all the religions. It doesn't matter what it is. I've had heated discussion with Buddhists. It doesn't matter. We generally don't cow down to somebody because they have a belief. One of the main reasons why we're having this particular conversation about this vacuous bitch is that one of our very own who comes to the chat room, Dawkins Dog, we've mentioned here several times on the show, he had a conversation with her back and forth, and Dave did as well, and she was calling him a toad. It compared him to a toad. I was like, wait a minute. His name says Dawkins Dog. He's not Dawkins Toad. I'm just saying. One of her
both vertebrates.
Yeah.
Did she tweet back to you in the pseudo language of children like she had been all the other times? Well, you're not here. I'm sorry. I thought.
Dog can talk for himself. I'm waiting for me to be brought up because.
Yeah.
No. I was asking.
I did not interact with her. I just read some of the tweets. Now
I thought Dave had.
Yeah, he did. But
I've been talking to her for 3 days.
That's a very long conversation for Roseanne Barr.
I'm sorry to interject so much. The funniest tweet back to her probably was the one that the Amazing Atheist sent to her, which was, why don't you go hide the fuck back behind the likability of John Goodman? You were better there.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off when I read that.
Now, one of this other bitch that's following her says, like, oh, my God, she said many, not, doesn't mean all. Oh, my God, bye-bye now. I'm like, who is this fucking asshole? She has no foundation for that. Now, this is one of the tweets that came up. They just want to correct, scare quotes around correct, a woman, if she's a believer or a Jew, that gets them double hot. Wait a minute. I gotta ask this. Aren't Jews believers too? I mean, they believe in a God too. I mean, why is she separating out Jews from believers? It's the same fucking thing. You're still believing in a God.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fucking retarded. I'm sorry. I don't
that-
apologize for that word when it's used in this context.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that what happened to her was that very recently she encountered an atheist, probably a family member, who came out to her as an atheist, and the first thing they did was make her question her beliefs. And she got so upset that she decided to take to Twitter and take it out on every atheist ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawkins from the chat room here says, all I said was there's a difference between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Zionism, thank you. And she said, shut the fuck up about Jews, Nazi toad.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my opportunity to talk.
Sure. I had another tweet from her, and she's now she's claiming that they're attacking women. And the other one was that I know that they're thinking I'm a Christian fundy. They don't care about informed, only attacking women. We weren't attacking you, bitch. The atheists out there who were challenging you or just trying to have a reasonable discussion. I know that's a little bit far above your pay grade, having a reasonable discussion with human beings, because, they think, and obviously you don't. But they were trying to explain something to you, and you decided to think that because you're Roseanne Barr, you have to open your fucking trap and just let, words fall out.
I think she's irrelevant, and she's trying to make herself in the public eye again.
Yeah. Dawkins also says, I don't care what's between her legs. It's the vacuum between her ears that concerns me. Then she went on about something else here. Now, she said that they are arrogant pricks sometimes. They don't see any difference between Jews, Christians, or Muslims and ignore Baha'i genocide. Baha'i genocide.
Oh, yeah, because that's the first
Baha'i
thing we do is we deny genocides.
One of the most ubiquitous religions on the face of the earth. They don't have the numbers, but they're in the most countries.
Really? Now that I wasn't aware of. Now, the thing is, what she doesn't understand is, and I just said it before, we treat all your religions the same way. We treat them with skepticism. You're the guys that believe this shit. You have to convince us. We don't have to prove that your God doesn't exist. You have to prove that it does. Kind of your thoughts.
Well, first of all, I was never a fan of her TV show. I felt like all of her co-stars were really funny, and the writing was good, and I guess she was a part of that, but I didn't care for her or her comedy, and that has nothing to do with her stance right now, but I'm like, well, okay, are we talking about Judaism as a religion? Are we talking about Judaism as a race? Are we talking about Judaism, evidently, as I was just informed in my Facebook conversation with Dave, it's like, okay, there's a political stance, because only a couple of those can be actually criticized. I'm not going to be against anybody by their race, but if your ideas and your ideals are something, that's what I can criticize. I can openly criticize them without being a hater of anything. Right. But I'm gonna defer to Dave because he actually was in the fray with her on Twitter. Yeah, and I'm just loving this.
Yeah, we had a couple of comments from the chat room here real quick. Microblogganism, thank you for your comment. He says Baha'i, thank you. Sounds a lot like a name of a cocktail. Yeah, I'll have a Baha'i. A little salt on the rim this time, Put a little Jack in there.
They are one of the most ubiquitous religions in the world, so just be aware of that when you talk about them.
Okay, that's fine. Actually, I'm going to
have to go look up ubiquitous.
I mean, like,
don't feel bad. I have to look up Baha'i now.
I'm the writer here, and God damn it, I don't know what that means.
all around,
you're
all
teachable.
Encompassing.
Atticus, you're teachable.
I know. I'll admit when I'm wrong too. I'm sorry. Can you say what the definition is again?
It means all around or all encompassing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dawkins continues here. He says, even a lot of Jews are opposed to the Zionists, so they're anti-Semitic by Roseanne standards. Stupid mooncalf. Yeah, she is a mooncalf. She's not even a smart one. She's a stupid one.
I'm going to have to look up that word now. You think I'm joking. Oh
which one, mooncalf or Zionist?
Mooncalf.
Okay. Just think of a real fat calf that has absolutely nothing to do with life. Just kind of lets her.
A foolish person.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. See, that's why I imitated it right here in front of you.
Yeah, Ubik is a novel by Philip K. Dick.
Yeah,
that's what they're discussing in the chat room. And
I didn't know that. I love his writing as well.
Yeah, Philip K. Dick is one of the best.
Yeah, all right.
It's fantastic.
Well, Dave, since you were also in the fray on this with this stupid idiot.
Yeah. So is it deferred to me at this point?
Yes, I do have one more quote from her. Real quick here. I'll throw this up on the screen.
Ahead, and then I'm going to explode on this whole podcast.
Sure. She said, since she's commented to somebody else, she says, shit is shit and all the same shit too. Arrogant, double standards spewed by the privileged. Did your irony meter just fucking explode?
Oh, wow.
No, your irony meter is...
My irony meter, when I read that, my irony meter fucking exploded. I'm still picking up the pieces off my desk.
Is it my floor yet?
Yes, the floor is yours, Dave. Huh. Your thoughts?
All right, thank you. The irony meter should be exploding because she's a Jew, right? And she's claiming that there is racism from atheists, yet she's attacking atheists and making a specific claim that atheists are anti-Semitic.
Yeah, but she has no problem going after atheists and saying attacking us.
No, that's what I'm saying. She has no problem going after atheists and saying they're anti-Semitic. But we should also take into account the fact that she herself was raised Jewish. She, however, in her childhood was forced to attend the Mormon church, and that the Mormon church itself, like when she attended those Mormon ceremonies, her family was hiding their Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so
in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
They're hiding.
Her family was embarrassed to be Jews, so they pretended to be Mormons.
Oh, wow. That's horrifying.
You know,
we were just talking about that exact type of thing.
You know, and the thing is, personally, until this came out, I didn't know she was Jew. I just thought she was just another one of the fundies roaming around out there. And you know what? I didn't even really think that much about it to begin with at all. She could have been a Satan worshiper.
Agree. I mean, I agree. She could be whatever. But all I'm saying is that her childhood is that she was a Jew who pretended to be a Mormon in order to hide her beliefs because her family said that was what they were supposed to do. So she was raised with this persecution complex that kind of explains where she's at, on top of which, right before, like when she was a young teenager, she had a closed brain injury that occurred from a car accident.
Well, that's evident now in the way she texts.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I've been talking to her for the past 3 days on Twitter. I asked her a number of questions. Were you guys aware that in 2012 she was a presidential candidate?
Yeah, she ran for president, not unsuccessfully.
She ran for president.
No, I missed that.
Yeah, for the Peace and Freedom Party.
Oh, okay.
The Peace and Freedom Party, by the way, is California's feminist socialist political party.
Wow.
I just want to make a quick correction here because I hate mispronouncing people's names unless they matter. But it was Ra Sun God, not Ra's Ungod. I do apologize. It's just the way I read it. So it was Ra Sun God. Sorry about that, Roz.
Okay.
Well, Dave, that explains why she said you were mansplaining.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so she accused me of mansplaining earlier today.
Mansplaining, Dave. You got to keep your legs closed when you're mansplaining.
I know. So I'm some sort of misogynist asshole because I called her out, whatever inconsistency I called her out on. So I'm mansplaining.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard that term. That's the fucking first time I've heard mansplaining. Because someone gives it to you, an explanation, and you're a man, you're mansplaining.
I would say she doesn't understand what mansplaining is.
I don't think she understands life.
So, like, there's a really perfect scene of mansplaining in the show Breaking Bad, where Skylar is sitting in the office of Saul, and Saul goes. He starts explaining to her what money laundering is. Like she's retarded, and she's like, "I know what money laundering is. That's mansplaining when you explain to a woman as if she doesn't know."
Oh, okay.
So let me give you context here.
Yeah.
Tonight, she and I were well, I mean, we've been texting back and forth for a few days, and tonight she and I were texting back and forth, and she had made some comments about Satanists, and I had responded and said that she was generalizing Satanists, and that most Satanists are actually Levian or Levian. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. However, that most Satanists are atheists who are trolling, right?
Right.
And I was trying to explain that her viewpoint of Satanists was not a correct approach to what Satanism actually is according to the quote-unquote Church of Satanism. She told me that I was mansplaining to her. I'm a misogynist or maybe a chauvinist. I'm not sure which I am, but I'm something. I mean, I'm not.
Oh my gosh.
This correctly, you know.
You're a bad person.
You're a bad person, Dave, by explaining something to her.
And I told her flat out, I'm trying to explain to you, I'm just trying to explain to you. It's not because you're a woman, it's because you're wrong.
It's because you're ignorant. And
Yeah,
I'm just trying
exactly.
to teach you as a teacher would teach somebody.
Oh, wow. It just...
That was my intent.
Atticus, your thoughts before I cry.
I think that I have interjected so much she's going to make me puke coat hangers. I think it's dumb. I think that she's bored. I think she's irrelevant, and I think she is no longer considered important.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think that what happened was she bumped into a friend, family member, somebody who said said they were an atheist, tried to explain to her, and in the middle of it made a religious person question their beliefs, and it upset her so much that she decided to take to Twitter.
Oh no, they made me question my belief. Oh no.
You know, that's the sad part of it, is that I've done this before, where it's like you're just asking. I have a relative that I debate with sometimes, and if you ask them too many questions, eventually they shut down and they're like, "Fuck you, you piece of shit." They'll turn into a total Massachusetts cabbie, dry. They're like, "I hate you. I don't ever talk to me again. How dare you?" It's because that whole core belief of what they believe is the only thing that keeps them together. It's the fucking glue.
Yeah.
And they're afraid that they'll fly apart into fucking particles if you make them question it.
I have to say that tonight I did ask her, as a representative of the Peace and Freedom Party, whether or not she felt that atheists had the right to disbelieve.
I gotta know what she said. Did she respond?
Yeah, she responded.
Okay.
I mean, she responded directly to me, and her response was that she believed that freedom from religion is as important as freedom of religion. And I told her I felt that was a redeeming statement.
Okay.
And I do want to make that clear, because I do feel that she did make a few redeeming statements throughout our conversation tonight. Although, 3 days ago when we started, she was completely condescending.
She must have been drunk.
Well, she's Roseanne Barr, so you're beneath
She's
her.
Roseanne Barr.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying right now, I think that she's not a very educated person. She's probably a very good actress, or
not
business
even
person, or whatever the fuck she considers herself today. But she's not an eloquently spoken person.
No,
I would agree with that there.
And I think that also she probably has a public persona to keep up, and part of that is a very acerbic, comedic personality. But I really appreciate that you're trying to engage her and have an actual discussion with her, and not have it be a bunch of comedic barbs. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I legitimately told her that, or I suppose I shouldn't say told her, because that's gonna end up coming off as mansplaining.
Mansplaining!
Yes,
But I
Lucy.
legitimately brought up with her in conversation that recently she had had some bad press, and that my point was not to alienate her, but rather to give her an opportunity to explain where she was coming from. And that
her
was
actual
where the
concerns,
conversation
yeah.
turned, that she was more receptive to my questions.
We had a couple quick quotes here from Dawkins' Dog. He said all she had to do was apologize for this first comment and explain why she thought many atheists were anti-Semitic. Just give me some evidence. And then he continues on here. As I put on my blog, if she discussed it like an adult and not resorted to abuse/blocking, she might have gained some respect from atheists.
Dude, Dawkins, I totally agree. You know what her ultimate reasoning is that she believes that anyone who is anti-Zionist is racist.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Isn't Zionism a specific, like, it's an idea that the Jews
Yeah,
are trying to take
Zionism
over
is
the
the
world?
belief that the Jews are predestined to have the Holy Lands.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is her belief. So atheists tend to not buy into that.
So by saying no, that's not true, you're automatically anti-Semitic?
That is
Pretty
her
much.
rationale. That's my assessment from debating her for the past 3 days.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. You should stop doing that because it's probably going to make your
It's making me
explode.
It's making me crazy, and I didn't even interact with her at all.
I mean, I've been trying to understand where she's coming from, and her rationale is that atheists tend to not believe that the Jews deserve the Holy Lands outrightly, and therefore
It's just a piece of
they are
land.
racist.
It's just a piece of land that nobody fucking wants anyway. Dave, I got the perfect way for you to understand it and see things from her point of view. Take a hammer, hit yourself with it about 3 times, then run directly right towards the door and head first. Then, and
No,
only
I'm just,
then.
I mean, I get it. I totally get it. Like, if you're a Jew, in the 1900s, it became popular to believe that you should support Zionism, right? And then in the 1940s, America gave the Jews Israel, even though they were taking the land from the Muslims, the Palestinians, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They've almost genocided the Palestinians out of extinction.
So Roseanne Barr supports all of that, and that's essentially what this whole thing is about. You know, I mean, she supports the Jews having Israel as the Holy Lands, and they deserve that and all that. And if you're an atheist and you don't believe in any kind of religious predestination, then obviously you're racist, and that's her viewpoint, and that's popular among Jewish belief. And that's why she's. I mean, it's why she's coming from where she's coming from.
A comment here from Dawkins' Dog based on that quote here. She says that anybody using the term West Bank was racist and anti-Semitic, for fuck's sake. If I go, I'm at a bank, and there's the bank over there. There's the West Bank. There's the North Bank. There's the South Bank. I mean, there's banks around me. If I call one a West Bank, does that make I'm a racist because I call it the West Bank? I mean. I know it's not. I know it's not in that context.
I don't believe you're inherently a racist, and I don't believe that she's inherently like.
I don't even understand the context of that myself. To be honest, I don't understand the whole context. Why you by saying West Bank makes you automatically, in their minds, a racist? I don't understand the connection.
Well, because that area is separated off for what is it? Is it the Muslims that have the
Palestinians, which are Muslims? Yes.
Yeah. That must mean you automatically are calling it their area. I don't know. I honestly, I mean, if it wasn't so part of the world right now, I would say that I don't care. It's something that's just going on.
Right?
It's been going on for so goddamn long.
Yeah.
Well, who do we send it back to? Who do we send it back to, Atticus? I mean, Really, the Egyptians, the
We can't
Greeks?
send it back to anyone at this point. I mean, we gave it to. I mean, as Americans, we gave it to the Jews in the 1940s.
I mean, yeah, but sadly, we have to. You know, I mean,
We have to
everyone
take some
has an
sort of
opinion about
responsibility.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to. Yeah, you have to say, oh well, I care, but there's nothing I can do about it. That's what I really mean.
But at the same time, I mean, it's so pertinent to today's situation because truly the reason why we did that was that we weren't willing to bring in Jewish refugees at the time. Whereas...
Oh, I thought it was also because they wanted to see I thought it was part of prophecy as well.
Oh, no, it absolutely is part of prophecy. Yeah. But...
It's also been 70 years, so...
Yeah, it's been 70 years. And why didn't we bring in the refugees of the time? I mean, we refused them to come here in the same way that we're talking about refusing Saudis today. You know, or refugees from anywhere in the world today.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the same situation. We created a different landscape in a different region in the world at that point.
A place that we'd have no business actually being or even understanding.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
We'll help end the war for you and liberate you, but God damn it, we don't want any more of you in the country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to kind of wrap this up here. I'm going to read more and more comment here from Raw Sun God. I hope I got it right that time. He said the whole situation is a clusterfuck, and I think that wraps it up pretty nicely.
It does.
Yes.
It's true. Yeah.
Blame it on the goose, got you feeling loose. Blame it on the Tron, got you in the zone. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the vodka. Blame it on the Henny. Blame it on the blue cat, got you feeling dizzy. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol.
I'm not even sure how to start this one.
Well, thanks, Rudell. We will blame it on the alcohol.
Say the word penis. Oh, no.
Yeah,
please.
Are we talking about penises?
We're talking about penises again.
Oh, wow. Right up my alley. I like that.
I know you. This
was a request, actually, from Microblogism. I think it was, say the word penis.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about it now.
We're going to talk about penises now.
It's a whole thing.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yes.
Well, actually, they're not quite everywhere. Muhammad Abad from Edinburgh was apparently, when he was run over when he was 6 years old, back in 1978, he was drugged down by a car, and he was drugged about 600 feet, and his penis got somehow sliced off.
Oh.
I don't even want to know what kind of road you're being drugged down that your penis gets sliced off. It's just I can't even imagine it.
600 feet.
He was only dragged 600 feet.
That's like almost 200. It's almost two football fields.
It was Bobbitt Lane.
It was Bobbitt Lane. But recently hit Mr. But recently Mr. Abad had surgery to fit a fully functional 8-inch bionic penis back in 2012.
Ooh. Wow.
Now the organ has two tubes which inflate when he presses a button on his testicles. I could just imagine if you go to sit down and you just sit wrong and then all of a sudden, oing! I now suddenly have an erection.
I'm an 8-year-old.
Now, I wonder what kind of sensitivity it has. Is it?
Well, there is none.
That's my question. What the fuck, man?
There is none. Now the thing is,
so you get to watch somebody else have an orgasm on top of you.
Yeah, pretty much. Now it does apparently work. I mean, it's allowed him to ejaculate sperm and everything, I imagine. But the thing is here.
Imagine that.
Now the thing is, there's this woman she's a pro, and I'm not kidding on that. She is a pro. And her name is Rose, and she's a 35-year-old who won the British Erotic Awards for Sex Worker of the Year back in 2013.
And she's a politician.
And she ran for ran for MP in the Clacton by-election in October of 2014, and Rochester and Stroud by-election the following month, and independent and the platform of the sexual freedom. We need a platform here, the sexual freedom platform. We need that here in the United States. I'm just saying. Now, she is a mother of 2, but she said she's going to waive her usual 200 pounds.
Goddamn saint.
She said she's going to waive her 200 pounds an hour fee. And
Holy shit.
Yeah, she thinks she must think a whole lot about her. She thinks a lot of her vagina. I'm just saying. She thinks she is.
That vagina better have a tongue in it.
I was saying.
That vagina has fucking a dick and all the bells and whistles to go along with it.
It shoots methamphetamines into the head.
This is her quote from her. She says, "I am so honored that he chose me to take his virginity. We plan to have a dinner date so I can get to know each other, and then for 2 hours of private time, I'm not charging him." Wait a minute. Why are you bothering getting to know him? You're a fucking hooker. You just go, okay, you grab them, you take the money, and you go right to the bedroom.
Hey, don't mansplain this whole situation. I don't want to hear any mansplaining.
He should have lost his virginity to Roseanne Barr.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Roseanne Barr would fucking grind him all night long.
Oh, yeah.
Now, she continues on here. She says, "I'm happy to help him build up confidence." Okay, that's a nice thing and all. This last line doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. She continues on saying, "Hopefully he can find a lovely lady to settle down with." No, not going to happen. He's like, you're with a hooker. You're with a hooker, and you think, oh, yeah, you're that guy with the bionic dick. Oh, yeah, didn't you fuck that goddamn erotic woman?
But he can't get any diseases, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is that there? Actually, from what I understand, there are certain diseases.
He deserves to settle down with a nice lady. Okay.
I didn't say he didn't. I'm just saying.
Does it? Wait. Does it vibrate?
Dude, I assume it's got all sorts of controls,
contraptions. It has a lightsaber on the end of it.
As far as a bionic dick goes,
yeah, I want mine with all the
as infinite possibilities. I've got like this color explosion that's going against the wall and sticking into the fucking like.
You can change all the heads.
make it bigger, wider, longer.
You can make it bigger. There's a fucking butt tickler.
Yeah. Well, no, I did want to say this though about the STDs. There are some STDs you can get just from genital skin contact. You don't have to exchange a whole lot of fluids.
Packard.
I'm just saying. No, you said you asked about it, and I'm just saying. I'm just saying because there apparently, from what I understand, there is HPV can be given in the same way. It doesn't have to be like crabs or anything like that.
Yeah, all that stuff that's a downer, man.
I'm just saying.
We talk about the humanity.
But I want to know why she thinks that her vagina is worth 200 pounds an hour.
No, I have way more interesting questions about that.
I mean, I'm looking at this woman. I'm looking at this woman, and I mean, she's good looking and all, but I've had better. I've had a lot worse, but I've had better.
Maybe her vagina vibrates.
I should hope so. If her vagina for $200, I'd take a vibrating vagina.
You know what it is? I think a lot of men are willing to have sex with a woman. It's not even $200. It's 200 pounds.
Right, 200 pounds. That's
what is that in
yeah.
American? That's like 500 American.
It's like $600.
Oh, someone put it in the chat. 200 pounds is equivalent to $290. So $300.
$300.
No.
So seriously, I mean, I think a lot of guys are willing to spend that much on sex.
That's more.
But we're talking about a woman who won the British Erotic Award for 2013 for Sex Worker of the Year.
She must be doing something, right?
Okay, but seriously, are we, Packard? Are you going to disperse this between people or what?
What's that? I'm sorry. I was looking it up. He's actually right. It's $290.41.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't have the 41 cents. Can we still have sex? I'm American. Come on. That's exotic.
We use American money here. We use America. We use American money.
Is on the Practical Magic?
What was that, Connie?
What?
Did you say something? Dave is
no, I said, are you passing this on to Practical Magic?
Oh, yes, Connie, your thoughts on this. I'm sorry, we were all kind of like talking all at once, so. Connie, go ahead. Your
I
thoughts.
just want to have some order to the thing.
Sure, you want to have some more orgasms on this one? Sure. Okay.
Thank you. I actually looked up the erotic awards, and it's a flying penis. Like I said, I'm an 8-year-old child right now. Oh my God. Yeah, and but okay. In all seriousness, a few years ago, they were trying to actually empower people with. Sorry. I can't concentrate.
Connie's regressed.
Hey, I have to do that for every show that I ever do with Jason.
Thank you so much. I feel so bad, but people with disabilities, trying to empower them to be able to seek out sex, and so they actually have something where they're hooking up. Oh God. They're hooking up people with disabilities with sex workers. I'm sorry. My gosh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Microbloggerism says go gadget penis, and he hopes it. He says he hopes he has a laser sight. Not the Bernie kind, I hope.
We're laughing at this. It's really actually. God.
Wait a minute. If it's got a laser sight, stay on target. Stay on target. Sorry.
It's just trying to say that it's empowering. I say moving, because people with disabilities, they are seen as not being sexual, and I want to give this a lot more.
Yeah, retarded people can have sex too.
But sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Finite, Atticus. Oh, God. Oh, we would end on this story. God, and I'm just such a child. I apologize, everybody. But yeah, Charlotte Rose, who's the dominatrix, yeah, it's really interesting because she actually ran for prime minister on the sexual freedom platform.
Yeah.
Which I didn't. I guess that's a platform.
We need it here in the United States. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I would vote sexual freedom platform.
Connie.
Yes.
I slap you in the face now and demand you to continue.
Get back, youngling. I slap you with
I mansplain this to you and expect you to perform now.
Get back, youngling.
Get
Slap,
back, youngling. Slap.
Slap.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let Connie recover and start and try to grow back up a little bit. Although I don't think any of us are going to grown up at this point.
What the hell are we talking about now?
I've lost complete track.
We were talking about bionic boobs.
Bionic tits. Bionic penises.
Bionic dick.
Bionic dick. Dave, your thought.
So did Marky Mark do this first?
I don't.
I mean, seriously, I think this idea is stolen from Marky Mark in Boogie Nights, right?
I have no idea. I would have thought,
does no one else know Boogie Nights?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it myself.
Marky Mark had
a wonderful movie.
He had a fucking robot dick that won some awards in MTV and stuff like that.
Wow.
His dick won more awards than he did. All I'm saying is that this is not the first time there was a bionic dick.
I call the bionic dicks the Republican Party. I'm just saying.
I can't deny that.
Of course not.
That's probably totally accurate.
I quite agree. Do you have any additional thoughts on that, Dave?
No, yes. Dude, Marky Mark calls jacked. He's like, that guy stole my idea. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Atticus, your thoughts?
I think there are a lot of amazing things that we're doing with the penis right now. It's I mean, what else can be said? I'm amazed. I'm happy for this guy, honestly. And he gets the fuck the best whore in the world, apparently.
Whore in the world.
That's my, I'm sorry, prostitute. Is that more PC? I don't know. I try not to be PC because then you can't be funny.
On this show, no one's PC on this show.
No one cares on this show.
Yeah, no, and I don't know. I guess
does he feel it? That's my question. Like,
I would think. Well, I mean, if they had a picture of it, that would be better.
Well, you know what? They are actually
and
working.
I would know if they stretched his skin for a little while and then wrapped it around. So
is that what happened?
That's the thing, though. I mean, if you put your finger in that area, you can feel that it may not be orgasmic, but at least if they had skin with nerves around it, it would
They're working on that kind of technology for replacement hands where they can actually feel by touch.
No, they got to work on the dick first.
Did you?
They got to work on the dick first.
Did you see that the first guy who had a dick transplant of biological tissue just recently impregnated a woman?
Mm-hmm.
With somebody else's sperm, right?
Well, no, with his own sperm, but through someone else's penis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I mean, was it bigger than his original?
I don't. I know.
I would hope so.
That's not the question I care about. I mean, maybe.
I'm just saying I'm just gonna say if you're gonna do this, you're gonna match. You got to make sure you match up.
I care about that. It should be bigger than his original.
If they were going to replace it. Just make sure that they match skin tone.
You know what?
You don't want a black dick on your white.
I'm sorry, it's a black dick.
Your white pasty body all of a sudden has this dark black dick. What the fuck are you gonna do about that? How are you gonna explain that to your patient? You're gonna be like, I've got this dark black.
That can answer a lot of questions. That can lead to a lot of questions.
You're like, but listen, baby, it's so much bigger.
Oh my gosh!
You can all hate me all you want.
Microbloganism asks, if you have a bionic dick, would you want it to look like an actual dick or all robotic? Flashing lights.
I'd want it to look like an actual dick, but that's because I'd want to lie to as many people as possible about it. I'd be like, yeah, baby, I was born with this big thing.
He was also asking, is that technically a threesome for the, going through somebody else's dick?
No, the person themselves takes the characteristics of the part, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah, like in all those horror movies.
Yeah. What if that tick was just evil, and they cut it off and
for some reason I want to light fires.
No, I really want to light fires now with my dick.
Is that like Bruce Campbell's Evil Dead, and then instead of the hand coming back to find him, it should be the dick that kind of crawls like a caterpillar all over the United States to come and find him?
Oh, really? Evil Dead? Now I'm thinking about it spewing something, but it's not blood.
Spewing blood? That's what Evil Dead does.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you so much.
Dude, that's what powers that evil dick. It's the blood at the back of it that rocket ships it forward.
There's a movie I didn't find in my Netflix queue, The Evil Dick. I'm looking on the wrong site.
I'm sure you can find it now.
Yeah, you should look hard enough. You can find it now. The Evil Dick.
Probably.
You say I'm always talking. Yeah, whatever you say.
We had a comment from one of our previous episodes on episode 308. It was the episode Poking Begins When 2015 Ends. From Herc Rants. He says, there was a flood in Turkey about 7,000 years ago, as I recall, and it raised the level of the Black Sea. This is the thought by some to have inspired the legend of Gilgamesh, which in turn inspired the biblical story. And he gives a Wikipedia link. We were discussing about how the Noah's Ark flood was a local story that just got way out of control, like every Christian story that's in the Bible. They have
every flood story, probably.
Yes, and every flood story, of course, they figure, okay, we've got this little thing. Let's see how much more we can ramp this up to make it look like it was a big fucking thing.
Yep.
Anyone have any comments on there, Connie?
Oh, well, there's a lot of localized flood stories, and I think that's interesting, but I love that they're a refutal to the flood story.
Mm-hmm. Dave, you have any comments?
Regional is not global.
True.
Was that what that person was trying to say?
Yeah, I mean, that person was trying to say that the regional story made it so that the global story had more credence, and I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. There's no reason to believe that the entire Earth was covered in fucking water.
Yeah, atmosphere...
regional sections at different times were covered by floods.
Mm.
There was never a global flood. There's no evidence to support that.
Right. Let's just say for shits and giggles that there was, that they would be pressed up so far up into the atmosphere that if Noah's Ark had been up there, everybody and everything that was on that ark would have froze to death. And they would not have been able to breathe. They would have ran out of oxygen before that.
Yeah, but wouldn't that push the air up too?
That's if you can even get over the amount of species that would have to be on that boat versus the space on the boat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So... I remember hearing something about that. They asked that same question, wouldn't the atmosphere be pushed up? It's like, no, because it pretty much it bleeds out into space, too.
It would have frozen and then collapsed upon themselves.
Yeah.
If that were true. Once that quote-unquote firmament collapsed, it would have destroyed the world.
Yeah.
And then where did the water go afterwards?
Yeah, there's... Then there's the nut jobs that say that the water got shot out into space, and that's why the moon looks like it does, or Mars looks the way it does, whatever, dude.
Oh, man, those people have no fucking clue what science is.
No,
I mean,
they don't.
I can't even stress enough. That is fucking insane.
Yes, I quite agree. I quite agree. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for coming. Atticus, one more time, where can they find your shows?
Well, my YouTube channel is Finite Atticus. All you got to do is just search that on YouTube. And I do a podcast with Jason with a D called Let Me Finish. And you can find that on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. Just put in Let Me Finish Podcast or Let Me Listen Podcasts. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can find me.
And you'll be sure to mention this on the show, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'll be listening for
it. Thanks, Atticus.
Thank you, Atticus. Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Yeah, seriously.
All right.
It's been great, yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us. All right, we'll see everybody here back next week with our regular short show. Until then, this has been Packard Pokes that we just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.